Welcome back to the channel again, my friends. Today, working on the truck camper, I have some wonderful news for you, and I also have some insights for you, and then also some modifications. The goal for today's video is to kind of get this thing ready to do some stealth camping. Obviously, I've got the rooftop tent on this thing, which is wonderful when I, post it up at camp, but sometimes I'm going to need to be camping down here without the rooftop tent popped, and I need to be discreet about it. So I've created some window covers, which I'm going to show you guys that. It's a much better improvement than the last set that I made for the previous camper show. So I'm going to go over that. But first, I have some really exciting news, but I got to bring you in a little bit tighter to show you. Yesterday, the GFC got, once again, another new bedside seal. So I've ordered this seal that is actually made, it's the same style as the one that GFC provides. It's a double bulb seal. However, it's designed for campers over 200 pounds. And this thing, I'm guessing, weighs about 250, 260 pounds. And so yesterday I got the new seal officially put on, and I was actually stoked because it came with some of this putty, which, if you can see, is all wedged up in this corner, because on the first gen Tacomas, there's a little bit of a gap right where this side of the bed and this side of the bed meet. There's a little tiny gap, and I was having an issue with the first seal that GFC put on with water getting into those corners. So I gummed it up with that putty and then put the new seal on. I also kept this seal all in one piece instead of the way GFC does it, where they basically cut a piece for this side, a piece for this side, and a separate piece for this side, which creates a bunch of gaps or creases or seams in between the corners here. So to do that, I ended up like kitty cornering this seal, and it rounds around the corner here on both sides. So it's actually all one piece around the whole bed. So here's a look at the little extra bit of seal that I have. This is the stuff that I put on. Hopefully this focuses. It's a double bulb seal, just like the one that GFC provides, but again, it's heavier duty, weighted for campers over 200 pounds. And I kind of compared the density of this one to the one that came on the GFC originally. I don't know, this just feels a lot more durable. And another difference is when GFC installed this on my truck, they put the sticky side down onto the bed rails. So the whole thing sat like this. And after doing a bunch of research online from other similar camper companies, everyone seemed to be putting theirs on like this. So they would actually stick the seam or the seal up onto the camper edge and then set the bulbs down onto the truck bed, which is what I did for this one. So far, it's seeming to work. I'll show you the how dry it is inside in a second. However, this stuff seems to do the trick, and between that and the putty in the corners, which this stuff actually came with, I'll have a link in the description to this. It's just something I found on Amazon. It's working like a charm so far. And then, as I was saying, with the corners, to keep it all one piece, I basically cut out a little bit of one side of the bulb seal, so that way you could basically corner it like that, and you wouldn't have all this bunched up stuff here, but you would still have a full bulb on one side of it. So that's the way I managed to get this on. Let me show you the bulkhead, because obviously, if you guys have been watching, that's where most of the water intrusion has been happening. So let's take a look. Just before this video, I hit the truck for about 10 minutes with the hose to kind of mimic rainfall. I soaked everything on the outside as much as I could, again, for about like 10 minutes or so, and then let it drip down and drain off. And if you can see that, there's absolutely no wet spots up at the bulkhead of the truck anymore. And that's where all my water intrusion was happening. Initially, when GFC put on the seals, it was getting extremely wet in each of these corners. And then in one of my last videos, I installed a different seal, which was the same foam seal that I used in my old camper shell. And to be honest, that was even worse. Then it was leaking all the way across that back end of the truck. And then now with this one, we've got no more water, which is exciting for a few reasons. Reason number one is I don't have to keep spending money on seals and trying to fix this thing and lifting it up and fixing the seal, putting it back down, readjusting it. I've spent countless hours working on this since I got the GFC, and now we are on to more fun things, which is going to be focusing on a build out in here. Now that I know that the camper down below is going to stay dry, now I can actually focus on building out a bed system, a drawer, storage, all that stuff. And then I also picked up something also really cool for this. It's going to be helpful for stealth camping and then just camping in general. So let me start off with the window curtains, because I think you guys are really going to like these. With my GFC, I have obviously the window up front near the cab, and then I also have the window on the back. And I created, well, actually, first let me start by saying I found a kind of a vintage commercial grade sewing machine for like 45 bucks on Facebook Marketplace. Fixed it up a little bit, oiled it, and was able to make some curtains for this thing. And I basically made them so that way they fold up really nice, and they can actually probably be stored up in these little cubbies on the bottom of the panel when I'm not using them. But obviously they're both pretty small when all folded up. So this is the one for this back lift glass. Looks like this. And to make these, I basically used the same fabric I used on my last set of curtains, which is like this canvasy black side here, and then on the other side that you can't see is kind of like a PVC coated fabric. So I used a piece on this side, a piece on this side. I edged it with whatever this stuff is called. It's also like a similar, I don't know, it's a similar fabric, but it goes around the edge of it, which I think gives it a nice finished look. And then inside, I've got 2 pieces of Reflectix in each little piece here. And to give it some rigidity, because if you guys remember my last truck curtains, I didn't sew any of it. I used glue, which was not the best idea. So sewing has been a far better experience, but also I added these seams here to, one, separate the Reflectix, and then also keep the Reflectix, because if you don't have any of this, it just kind of like bubbles out and it doesn't sit nearly as nice. So the seams help keep it more rigid, and then also easily allow it to kind of accordion style fold up like that. Now the issue, well, let me show you the other one first. And then this, I built it the same way. Obviously it's just a little bit of a different shape because it goes on that front window up there. And to adhere these, I'm going to be doing magnets and probably like steel strips on the inside here, because the GFC is made of aluminum panels. Magnets don't stick to it. So you got to add like some steel adhesive strips around the windows that you're going to be covering. And then I'd already tried, I don't know if you guys can see that, kind of these corners and like here. Actually, forgot I still have one in there. So I put these magnets in and I sewed them in. I thought I had taken them all off because it ended up not working. These magnets are not strong enough. I picked up some from like a hobby shop and they're just not gonna do the job. So I'm looking at ordering some more strong magnets and then redoing all of these little magnet holders around all of it, and then attaching it with the steel, or the magnets to the steel strips, which will be around both windows. And then that way it will hopefully stay on there a lot easier. I was gonna do Velcro, but I feel like with the Velcro, one, I'd have to stitch the Velcro to these, and if the Velcro didn't work, it's a huge pain to de-stitch them and all that stuff. So I just wanted to go with magnets because I think it's going to be a much cleaner install. And then I also just have those nice little, they're almost invisible steel strips on the panels themselves. So it'll be a nice clean look. And then also they just come off really easily. They're quiet, so you're not like ripping Velcro, which is nice. It's just a silent magnet. So great for stealth camping. You know, you're in there, maybe like I like to be aware of my surroundings. So if I'm hearing like people close to my truck or something like that, instead of like ripping open the Velcro, I can just pop the little magnet off the corner and kind of see what's going on outside. So we're getting into the nitty gritty here, but I just want to show you guys these things because extremely excited about how they turned out. They were pretty time consuming to make, but one and done, you know, is kind of my philosophy here. Do it right the first time and get a better product. So unfortunately, I can't hang them up yet because I don't have the magnets and the steel strips yet. I have to order stronger ones, but that will be in a future video. I'll show you guys. We're actually going to be doing some stealth camping here shortly, and I'm hoping to have these all good to go for that video. So on to the next cool thing. If you guys have been watching the channel, you know that typically my water storage consists of one of those giant 7-gallon blue containers that most people use. I picked up a 5-gallon container, which is going to be far better because obviously it's a much smaller profile. I don't usually go out long enough where I need 7 gallons of water, even on multiple day trips. I've never used it all, so my thinking is that I'll get a smaller container. I'll still have the same access to filling up water when I really need to, and this doesn't take up nearly as much room in the back of the bed here and is just a lot easier to move around. The other awesome thing is it has an integrated pump on it that is rechargeable via USB-C. So with a tap of a button, I can just fill that up instead of having to do the whole like open it, tip it, like try and finagle this 7 gallons of heavy water and like moving it around. Now it's just, I mean, that's gonna be so awesome. So for just filling up pots for cooking, water bottles, even like in the back here, I can just get this, wash my hands after, you know, doing anything that requires washing hands. It's just going to be so much better. And then, like I said, rechargeable via USB-C. I've charged it up and it charges quite quickly and doesn't pull any power at all. So pretty awesome. We'll see how this turns out with the pump. We'll see if it holds up over, you know, multiple camping trips, but it's just going to be so much of a smaller footprint in here. And I'm really excited to have this integrated into the back of the truck. I think it'd be cool to even get a second one of these and basically build a wooden little section here that houses them. And then basically the pump here with the faucet would be sticking out above the wood. And then I could honestly do some sort of like a sink setup where I have a faucet, a running water faucet, and then have the sink drain into a second one of these for a gray tank. And then inside the truck, I have power, electric, I have running water, I have plumbing, basically, a sink to do dishes. I think it's going to be freaking awesome, and it's so minimal. And then you can always take this off too. It comes with a regular cap here. This doesn't have to stay on, but for my purposes, it's probably going to stay on most of the time. And then you can just fill up the water on the back here. It's got a much bigger hole on it than a lot of the other ones, so I can actually like get my hand in here to clean it, which is nice. So just absolutely stoked with how this thing I think is going to turn out. I want to show that to you guys because I think the pump is probably one of the coolest things I've seen on for like truck camping gear. It's so useful. So we'll figure out a spot for that. Something else I want to fix today as far as like water intrusion goes is there's a gap on both sides right here. And that's pretty common with any truck topper, including GFC. So I'm going to, at least I think I'm going to try and stick some like butyl tape and fill up this corner on both sides of the tailgate here to hopefully alleviate that. And we'll see if that makes a difference or not. But I just want to fill up these two gaps on both sides, and then that should eliminate 99% of the water intrusion I'm having with this camper. So along with the new double bulb seal, I ordered some black butyl tape, which this stuff already looks way nicer than the last stuff I bought from Home Depot. That was like absolute trash, but I'm gonna basically just wad up some of this and try and fill this gap here. We'll see how it works. I've used butyl tape before. I used to actually be a window glazer, so I know for a fact this stuff is pretty dang good. I'm gonna kind of wad it up. This is definitely better to do on a nice warm day. It's a little more malleable, but I'm gonna just start by trying to fill up this hole here and really push it into the creases on both the front and the back side. And yeah, if you do this while it's warmer out, one, it's more malleable, but it also, I find that it sticks better. But it is about 40, 45 degrees out today, give or take. So that's what I'm working with. But I think something like that, I'm gonna really try and push it into these corners and fill that up as much as possible. And I'll try and add even a little bit more to this, so that way I have plenty to actually squish in. And then I think what will happen here is when I go to close this, it should, yep, really start to like push that in. So now you can see this whole area here is all filled up with beetle tape. So that's a pretty simple fix and should at least run the water off the back here and not into the actual camper. So I'm gonna repeat that on the other side. But yeah, you can see once I closed it, it left like an impression there where the panel sits, and over time that should mold perfectly. It doesn't really harden up per se, but it also kind of like stays and holds its shape, if you will. So beetle tape, great for this kind of stuff. So the next mod for the truck camper to help with comfort and then also stealth from the old Home Depot, I picked up this outdoor carpet in about 6 by 8 feet. So should be long enough and wide enough to run the full floor of the truck bed. And what I'm gonna do is lay this out, and I'm gonna lay the truck mat on top of it, and then, because obviously the truck mat is shaped perfectly for the first gen Tacoma bed, trace it out, cut along the edges, pretty easy. Then we'll have a nice carpet in here, which will, one, be good for just comfort, so moving around and then moving gear around will be a little bit more quiet and insulated, and then myself moving around in the truck bed will be a little bit more quiet. So kind of a win-win. Shouldn't be too hard. Thing costs like 20 bucks. Pretty easy mod. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the anchor out of here and pull out this bed mat. Also kind of a win for filming, because especially now that the Go Fast is all metal, creates a lot of echo and reverb on the mic. So this should help with filming too. And just like that, we now have a nice bed carpet in the truck camper, which will just be a heck of a lot more comfortable, more soundproof, and should make filming audio-wise a little bit better in there, less reverb. And now I've got one more mod, or I don't know, maybe a couple. I want to add a paper towel holder to those little screws up there. So I'll go ahead and show you guys how I'm going to do that. Oh, even initial crawling in here, so much more comfortable with this rug. So I want to put basically paper towel roll here, so that we have easy cleanup access. And the GFC V2 Pro has, I think these, I forget the size of these, but basically bought a couple stainless steel bolts that I'm going to run in here. And then the goal although that's going to be a little long. I may have to find a different bungee, but the goal is to basically bungee this through the paper towels and see if we can get that to work. But I think I'm going to need a shorter bungee to start here. So on this one, I'm actually I removed the hook on it and I'm just sticking the bolt right through this. I'll just kind of thread it in a little bit. So now all I should have to do is feed the paper towels through here. One side is actually bolted in, the other side, I'll just put the hook over the bolt, and there we go. Paper towel holder, accessible inside and outside. And perhaps for now, the water can just live maybe right here behind the fridge next to the wheel well. Like I was saying, I think it'd be really cool to, I don't know, maybe back here, maybe somewhere along the wheel well. Still trying to figure out the whole build, but have maybe even a sink with a second one of these next to it to have the faucet run into the sink and then the sink drain into the gray water container, which I can just pull out and empty as needed. So heck yeah, guys. The lower part of the house here is starting to come along nicely. And even just adding this carpet did way more as far as comfort improvement goes than I thought it would. So very stoked on that. The seal, time will tell. I'm hoping this is the last time, or that was the last time I had to fix it. We shall see. And now we can really start looking at building out the inside of this thing for longer term travel, borderline living out of it type scenarios. So yeah, let's hop in here and get a feel for it. Oh, so nice. Also, I don't know if you probably see it on camera. This driveway is pretty level here, but my truck, I know first gen Tacomas have a little bit of a lean towards the driver's side, but I feel like mine is like a pretty intense lean. So I don't know. It's got the same suspension on both sides, so I'm not sure what's going on there. If you guys have any ideas, I know trucks, including this one, have those bolts up front. I forget what they're called right now off the top of my head, but you turn them torsion bolts. Anyways, you probably know. You can let me know down in the comments, but I wonder if one of mine on the driver's side is set a lot lower than the other one, because I think turning those lifts up the car a little bit, or the truck. But ooh, this is nice. Oh, I was thinking for my first stealth camp, I'm gonna have to get like something to sit on, but this is already really comfy between the bed mat and now the bed carpet. That's excellent. So we got power station, we've got water. That's so sweet. We've got a fridge. I can probably just cook on top of the fridge with the stove, like literally just sitting right here cooking. Heck yeah. And then obviously after cooking is all said and done, and kind of lay out the mattress right here, the inflatable mattress, and sleep down below. And then I'll have the magnetic window covers for here, and then also the lift glass. These panels are solid, so there shouldn't be any light coming out of those, and hopefully do a little stealth camping and no one will actually know I'm in here. So I'm looking forward to that very much. Like I said, I've got a stealth camping video planned here pretty soon, and I don't know, maybe do some gaming back here on the laptop. It's got a power station to power that up and keep me running for a bit. So pretty dang cool. The only thing I will say is I don't have a vent or a way to get the diesel heater in, which obviously I'm not going to use the diesel heater stealth camping, but it would be nice to have the option to run it down here and not just through the tent. I know I can drill out on the panel a port for the diesel heater to go into, the hose. I just don't know if I want to drill into my brand new GFC quite yet until I'm for certain that I'm going to need it down here. However, yes guys, big success. Now we can start getting into the build, actually like building out some storage here, maybe a bed platform. I asked you guys in I think the second to last video how you would do it. Some of you said wood. Most of you said to do it out of extruded aluminum, which I agree would look really, really fresh and clean in here. Really match the fridge, match all the metal on the GFC. I think it'd be a really cool vibe to have a pull-out drawer so I can cook outside when needed, and then a big storage thing here with obviously a platform up top that I can just put the mattress on, similar to my old build. So, oh, so excited. So to recap, we did the new seal on the bed. We'll see how that works out. Added the beetle tape around here to see how that works out. With those kind of things, it's just test, and then I will have to report back to you on that. And we got the paper towel hanger, pretty handy. We've got the new water container with the electric pump on it, or faucet. Bed carpet, if I didn't already mention that. It's coming along nicely. Oh, and the curtains, which I just stored up here, out of the way. They don't really hit my head, so that's solid. Yeah, I think I'm gonna sit in here for a bit and start scheming. That's what I like to do to plan out my build, is just sit in the truck and think about where I want things to go. So stay tuned for the next one, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Not camping, but we were just doing a little bit of modification to the camper, and I'm really happy with how it's coming out. So if you guys enjoyed it, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, what mods you have in mind for this thing, maybe what you would do for a build out, and then also make sure you hit a thumbs up. Really helps the channel. Hit subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you in the next one. Keep elevating, my friends. Adios. So sick. Nice, dude.